You'll notice I was seated over at the Vincent and Gala fan club table right over here in the corner. They're generally the loudest in the room, Vincent. Thank you, Vincent, for introducing me. My name is Michael Acousti. I'm a volunteer at the parish and a member of the Pastoral Council. I know a lot of you in this room, and welcome to a lot of the people here from Sacred Heart, Sagrado Corazon Church. I know I speak for many in our parish of St. Anthony's, and I know we were very excited to share Mass with all of the guests today, and the music was incredible, and I think the service was just beautiful. How did I get up here to do this? I'm not sure, but I think I'm probably the only other person here besides Father Mark who enjoys hearing about himself, so... A while back, I mentioned to Father that I said, you know, you gonna have anybody speak or do anything? He kind of demurred a bit. Oh no, I don't know. Probably not. I don't really want to roast. Well, I assumed he meant like meat because he doesn't eat, a lot of meat. So I figured, oh, okay, great. Well, we could move ahead with a roast. He didn't explicitly say, I don't want anybody telling any jokes at my expense. So I went around the room a little while ago and asked a few people if they had any funny stories or jokes or anything that they had any goods they had on Father Mark. A lot of people gave me some funny looks. A lot of people clamped up and wouldn't say anything. I'm not sure what you hold on them, but it's probably a lot. But there were some people who shared some funny things. And it sounds like you might have some dirt on some people. Joe Thompson, in particular, mentioned that you always comment on demeriting him, and that he has a lot of demerits against him. And I kind of got that across several people who went, no, I don't want to say that. Okay. Evelyn Kiley even asked, who is Father Mark? Father likes to come up with a lot of great ideas, and being on the Pastoral Council, every meeting he'll start with, oh, I've got this great idea. And we all look at each other like, oh great, now we've got to put it in action. One good idea he had was the pumpkin patch. A lot of people, a lot of volunteers here from that. I thought he was out of his gourd, but somebody commented on one of your new favorite liqueurs, a Lithuanian liquor called Viditos. Probably explain why I saw him stumbling into his house the other night. Somebody else also commented on his transformation over the past several years, to call it that. And he lost weight, looks fantastic. Well, one day he came in and people kind of noticed something a little bit differently. And then it dawned, your hair color changed. Father's remarked to that because there are several people, Joe Stanley, myself, a few other people in here, who like to call him out on things. And I know he enjoys that. His response to that was, it was a little accident. With the color bottle, were you trying out different colors? Recently, Fran Lamontagne, who's a very big volunteer here, she painted a portrait of you, I understand. And I actually happened to see it in your office on the floor, and turned around. And I couldn't help but notice that you had a little bit more hair on it. Was that, was she helping you out? Did you ask her to do that? Or was that from about 30 years ago? We've got some people here, a couple people that just want to say a few things. Probably some serious things, although I hope probably a few funny things. So The first person I would like to call up is Danielle. Danielle Tosi.
I have to follow you? That's
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like you, I don't know how to get up to it. Just to give you a little background, I met Father Mark September of 2001 when he became the pastor of St. John Vianney Church. And at that time, I was a volunteer in probably every area of the church. And one of the bigger areas was that I took care of and was the committee chair for a very large Cub Scout pack. We had 120 kids in that pack. And the one thing you have to do that every time a new pastor comes in is you have to make sure they still want you there. So I had to introduce myself and, ask him, and of course he was a big supporter of it and said no problem. I knew the problem came like 2 weeks later when I was bringing the gifts up in Mass, and he said, "Thank you, Danielle," and he already knew my name. I said, I'm done, I know this is it, So that September we went into Christmas and we have our sing-along for the church sing-along for Christmas time, and we brought it over to Our Lady of Victory that year. And now we come into the summer, which St. John Vianney has their traditional carnival for the 4th of July. We always have it around the 4th of July fireworks. Our church is on the beach. So I kind of wanted to tell this story and dedicate it to anybody in this room that has ever cooked with Father Mark for a big event. Because you know who you are and you know what you're up against, okay? I didn't. It was my first year taking over the food part of the carnival. The gentleman that used to take care of it was getting older and was backing out. Problem was, he had everything up in his head, nothing on paper. So I had to start from scratch. So I sat with Father Mark a few times, we went through everything, and at that time everything was cooked with meat, so I had to go store to store and get all the special stuff and order the special everything for that morning. So I'm there at 7 o'clock and I'm waiting for all the deliveries, and here comes a truck from Our Lady of Victory with all the pots and pans. And I'm like, okay, we have our own. I don't know what he's bringing all this stuff for. Well, the saucepan literally was above my knee. I mean, it was this tall, and when we put it on the stove, I had to get on a step stool to stir the sauce. That wasn't the tough part. The tough part was, after he did all the preparation, I had everybody there, my nieces were there, people from the church. He kept saying to me, "Where's the tomatoes? Where are the cans of tomatoes?" I said, "They're on their way." He said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, they are. They're coming. They're delivering." 10 minutes later, I get the same question. 10 minutes later, I get the same question. Now, I don't know him that well right at that point, so I'm kind of getting a little perturbed. Like, I'm going to go through this every year with him? Finally, to say the least, they came. And they were the wrong ones. He used them, but I heard it all week. And he made sure he wrote it down, so next year I remember to get the right tomatoes.